I'll just let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded. So if you do not want to be on the video or seen in the chat, just beware. You can keep your video turned off. This is a webinar to learn more about accepting SNAP at your market or your farm stand. And we have MarketLink, who is our presenters today, and they're going to let us know all the resources they have for getting started and getting equipment and all that kind of stuff. And then there'll be plenty of time at the end for questions. This is being presented by the Alaska Farmers Market Association as well as the Alaska Food Policy Council. So two great organizations working statewide to help build a stronger and more equitable food system for all Alaskans. So I'm going to pass it over to Lauren and Juliet.
Awesome. Thanks, Robbie. I'm going to get my PowerPoint presentation up here. Give me just a second and we'll get started. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Lauren. I'm here today with my colleague, Juliet. We're from the MarketLink team. Today, I'll be giving an overview of MarketLink, a grant program of the USDA and the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. Our program helps farmers and farmers markets access equipment to accept SNAP EBT payments. And just want to thank Robbie and the Alaska Farmers Market Association for hosting today and helping get the word out about our program. For questions, feel free to interject at any time, or you can use the chat or Q&A features and we can address the questions at the end. All right. So as I mentioned, MarketLink is a grant program of the National Association of Farmers Market Nutrition Programs. We have a cooperative agreement with USDA to carry out the national free SNAP equipment processing program for direct marketing farmers and farmers markets. The only eligibility requirement for our program is that the business is designated as a direct marketing farmer or farmers market by the USDA and has not also received free equipment from their state's equipment program. All right, so we are a partnership between NAFMNP, USDA, and Novodia Group, and they are the developer of the Total Pay point of sale apps, which we're going to cover in the presentation today. All right, here's the full scope of MarketLink services. We provide technical assistance with the SNAP retailer application. That's the USDA application that any SNAP retailer has to complete. We provide a free Bluetooth SNAP EBT card reader and 1 year free use of the Total Pay Go point of sale app for processing payments. As part of this project, we've done away with the third-party processing and per transaction fees for SNAP EBT, which anybody who's done this in the past is probably familiar with those, but we'll cover kind of what that means a little later. We've obtained a printer waiver from the USDA. So if you accept SNAP as part of this program, you do not have to give printed receipts. There's an option within the app to give email or text receipts. We have the option to add integrated credit and debit processing with discounted rates through Square. We'll cover that as well. The full suite of services is valued at $400. So we are what we're calling a bring your own device program. So in order for our grantees to be able to accept SNAP payments, there's a few things that the customer will need to provide. So again, we cover the cost of the Bluetooth card reader and 1-year license of the Total Pay Go app. The farmer or market will need to provide a smart device that can download the Total Pay Go app and connect to the internet to take payments. Device requirements: Android operating system 5 or higher, Apple operating system 11 or higher. Okay. MarketLink is a 4-step process. So step 1, you'll apply for the grant at marketlink.org/apply. Step 2, you'll need to get authorized by the USDA to become a SNAP retailer. And we do have technical assistance to help with that step. Step 3, you set up your merchant accounts with Novadia Group, which is our tech company. Step 4, receive and set up your equipment. Okay, to anyone not familiar, I'll quickly cover what the SNAP program is. So SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is administered by the USDA to address food insecurity among low-income families, formerly known as the Food Stamp Program, and often referred to as EBT, Electronic Benefits Transfer. Eligibility requirements are based on income and household factors. Last year, 39 million Americans received SNAP. The program has grown substantially because of the pandemic, grew 17% from February to May of 2020. And the next 2 bullet points are just about eligible and ineligible items. Thank you to my coworker Julia for this beautiful graphic showing the benefits of accepting SNAP as a farmer or farmer's market. It helps the farmer increase their sales, expand their customer base, improve food access, enrich the community, improve community health, and to get the word out about your farmer market. So before the COVID-19 pandemic, farmers and farmers markets made up less than 1% of SNAP EBT spending. So there is a tremendous potential for growth in this area. Many states are offering enhanced SNAP EBT benefits because of COVID, which means there's a greater potential for sales growth. Electronic payments allow for low-touch transactions that will keep you and your customers safe. Okay, so we discussed briefly the SNAP retailer application, but again, this is an approval that you have to obtain through USDA Food and Nutrition Services to be able to accept SNAP payments. This is what is commonly referred to as having an FNS number. So when your application is approved, you are issued an FNS number that is active and authorized. You must complete the SNAP retailer application before you receive your equipment, and we do have a technical assistance service to help. You can book appointments with our regional representatives at marketlink.org/about/contact. A couple of things to remember before you start that application. You must have an active email account that you check. USDA commonly interacts with applicants through email. You must have a bank account. You will be required to submit copies of different forms of documentation, so photo ID, social security card, sometimes a business license or a 501c3 letter of determination, tax returns, that sort of thing. Social security number is required, at least 1 per application. We call that the responsible official. They have to provide their social security number. There's a couple exceptions to that. Federal nonprofit organizations and government-sponsored organizations do not have to provide a social security number. And just be sure to collect all your business information like sales, EIN, that kind of stuff before you start the application. Okay, so moving kind of back to the technology side, I want to talk about what we mean when we say app-based SNAP EBT processing. So what this means is that transactions are taken within an app that you download on a smart device. Currently, TotalPay Go, which is the app that we're partnering with for this grant, is the only app that allows you to take SNAP payments. So there's other apps kind of like Square that allow for credit debit, but this is the only app in which you can accept SNAP. And like I mentioned before, it's available on Apple and Android devices. And this is a rebrand of Mobile Market Plus, which is a Novodio product as well, which some of you may be familiar with. They are still servicing that app, but hoping to upgrade all customers to TotalPay Go within the year. And again, there's no external third-party processor if you use the TotalPay Go app. So just a quick note on that. Other systems that allow you to accept SNAP EBT payments, like the wireless or wired machines, those are kind of the machines that have the buttons on top with the built-in card reader. Those will require that you identify a third-party processor to handle your transactions. They usually charge yearly and per transaction fees. And with the TotalPay Go app, we've done away with obtaining an external third-party processor. It actually, Novodia Group acts as the TPP. And there's no per transaction fees, which we'll cover fees a little bit later. So this is what the TotalPay Go app looks like. So you can see the various screens, login page. Second one here is the transaction page. So you would log in, open up the app, select which type of transaction you want to take, and then the other two screens here are just making sure that your device is properly paired to the card reader and set up to take transactions. Seeing some questions come through. Just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, we'll just wait till the end. Okay, so in addition to the app, all users are set up with a mobile EBT account, which allows the users to manage their devices in which they have the app loaded on and to generate reports and pull sales information. So I know this is a little hard to see, but these are different types of reports that you can pull using your data. So it's a really neat way to kind of look at and analyze your sales. And then it's all stored in one place. All right, so I briefly mentioned earlier integrating credit and debit. So we do have a partnership with Square Credit Debit Processing. You can integrate your Square account directly into the TotalPay Go app. So the way that this works is you connect your Square account to your TotalPay Go account, and then this credit button that you see on the screen, when you use that and take credit payments, it will deposit through your Square account. So you'll still need to have the Square reader, but you won't need to toggle between the apps. And then all of your payments can be taken and tracked together. And there is a discounted rate for MarketLink users, which is 8 cents plus 2.6% of the sale per transaction. So the $0 per transaction fee does not apply to credit debit, only to SNAP EBT. So again, here's a summary of those per transaction fees: 0 per transaction for SNAP EBT, 8 cents plus 2.6% of the sale for credit debit. Okay, so what happens after the grant? Again, we cover the first year of the fee to use the TotalPay Go app. After the first year, it's $19.95 a month or $191.40 a year. You can pay month to month if you're a seasonal operation, or you can pay for the full year at I believe, a 10% discount. There's no contracts. You just pay in advance for the month in which you want to use. Fees are really transparent. Those transaction fees stay the same after the first year. Novadia Group is still the third-party processor, and the printer waiver continues to apply as well. Printed receipt waiver. So to get started, you can complete our eligibility assessment at marketlink.org/apply. And just to reiterate the 4 steps of the MarketLink process, you'll complete that eligibility assessment. You'll want to get your SNS authorization from USDA. And then once you have those 2 pieces in place, we'll set you up with our Novadia group to set up your processing accounts, and then they'll send you the card reader and information to activate and use your device. So we do have pretty extensive technical assistance services. Our team is nationwide, so we can assist farmers and markets from any state with all steps of the MarketLink process, including the eligibility assessment, the SNAP retailer application. So we can actually do the SNAP retailer application over the phone with you if you book an appointment. Takes about an hour, but we do the appointment on your we do the application on your behalf, and then we can kind of like guide you through which documents you need, and we'll upload those for you as well. And then we can track the progress of your application as well online. We also can help with equipment setup and training. So if you're having an issue with the app or getting it to activate, we can help with that. Again, you can book appointments with our regional representatives at marketlink.org/about/contact. So for anyone that may not be eligible for the MarketLink grant, we do have a purchase program. There's some great paid options that are still pretty cost effective compared to other SNAP processing options. So food hubs, grocery stores, and other aggregation firms use Total Pay Go to accept SNAP. You can contact us at MarketLink or Novadia Group for pricing for the purchase program. And then depending on your needs, you may still qualify for national negotiated rates. So if you get on the Total Pay Go website, you'll see that there's a special price for farmers markets. Sometimes those will apply to firms that may not be eligible for MarketLink. Okay. So the other related product to Total Pay Go is Total Pay Register. This is part of the purchase program as well, but it is an app-based, fully integrated point of sale system that accepts SNAP and all other types of payments. So it's kind of similar to Square Register. It has an inventory itemized function. So you could use this at a grocery store, and when somebody's checking out, you can say, okay, they have asparagus, they have apples, and take the payments that way, versus on Total Pay Go, it's just the dollar amount that you're swiping for. So you can visit the Total Pay Go, or sorry, the Total Pay Register website for more details on that. Okay, future development. So these are things that we're working on with USDA as the MarketLink team. So we're hoping to add eWIC, eFMNP, loyalty, and e-incentives to the app. We're currently also working on building out a customer-facing app that would allow us to do this. We're developing the eFMNP work in conjunction with state agencies nationwide. And we're also hoping to expand into online SNAP. So that would potentially allow farmers and farmers markets to take SNAP payments and through an online store. Okay, we'd love if you would connect with us on social media. It's a really good place to get updates about our future development and learn more about the program. So these are our social handles. Okay, and lastly, here's how to contact us and Novidia Group. And now we can open things up to questions. I know I've had quite a few come through the chat. I'm going to navigate that way. And actually, bear with me for just a second. I want to make sure that all the participants can talk. Okay, first question is from Brad St. Pierre. Why would a market go with MarketLink over the free equipment and fees provided by the state of Alaska? So that's a great question. We don't coordinate the state free machine efforts. They generally offer a different suite of services than we do. I don't know, Robbie, if you know if the state program covers direct marketing farmers. I know in some states they just have free equipment for farmers markets. So in this case, if you're a farmer, you may not be eligible for that. But
yeah, I believe that it's just farmers, but I'm going to pass it over to our association vice president and Tanana Valley manager, Brad St. Pierre, who's been doing a lot of work with the state on this.
Hey guys, I'm pretty sure that actually if you have your FNS number, that even as an individual farmer, you can get those. If you're a licensed Quest processor, you can get that free equipment from the state. It doesn't process anything except for Quest, but it is connected through Cell and has an offline mode. And yeah, it's all the fees are paid for and the equipment's paid for. And we have technical help through the company called FIS. So if there's anybody that's interested in the free equipment from the state, there's information at AFMA's website on our resources page.
awesome, yeah, and that is a great distinction. The state programs don't allow for processing of credit and debit. So we have the negotiated rate with Square. I would say long term too. I don't know what's the duration of your grant period for the state.
It's not a grant, it's indefinite. They're required by the state to provide free equipment to SNAP retailers.
So they pay the fees too indefinitely?
Yeah, we don't pay cell service, we don't pay transaction fees, we don't pay anything, and we don't have to do any of all we have to do is just use the machine.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's likely for most folks probably going to be a better, you're going to get more out of the state program. We do have the purchase program for anybody that might not be eligible for either program. That's probably the cheapest way to obtain EBT processing. But yeah, it sounds like your state program's offering quite a bit, so that's great.
I know for our farmers market in Homer, having the ability to accept credit and debit is crucial for us because we do a market script. I know Brad's market has an ATM.
Okay, so next question from Mandy. The program provides a card reader, but we must have a program downloaded on a staff or market smartphone, correct? Yeah, so we're not actually giving out any devices or machines. We're just giving a card reader that pairs via Bluetooth to a smart device that the farmer market would already have themselves. Okay, Evelyn, if you want to put your email into the chat, I can send you instructions and links for getting approved by USDA. We've got like a a whole step-by-step. That's pretty helpful. Okay, Brad's question about credit card processing less than other processors. So that's a difficult question to answer. I think probably for farmers and markets who are doing a lower volume, Square is generally a better deal because there's no contract. So you're not paying like a yearly fee, you're not paying a monthly fee, you're not paying a second processor, you're just paying 8 cents plus 2.6% of the transaction. Generally, I think overall that flexibility and the lack of yearly fees does work out a little bit better for a smaller marketer or farmer. But definitely do your research. You know, we don't have all the answers.
I'm just going to chime in about the USDA application thing. I'm going to drop into the chat a link to our handbook, which has a list of all the, whether you apply for SNAP authorization through us or if you want to do it on your own. There is a section of our handbook that lays out the materials that you'll need to have before you do that, and a step-by-step guide on how to do the USDA application to become a SNAP authorized retailer, which you might find useful, whether you're doing it with us or whoever.
Yeah, that's great, Juliet. And actually, I see Robbie's questions. Any slides that show the cost? Assuming the cost of the fees, but that should all be broken down in the handbook. So that's a really great resource to look for those costs too. Timeline on future developments, that's a great question. I know we are planning an EFMNP pilot for early next year. And Alaska is part of the association, the Farmers Market Nutrition Programs Association. So I think it's going to be rolled out on a state-by-state basis. I think that'll really depend on what's already in place in Alaska. So unfortunately, I don't have an exact timeline, but I know we're going to try and roll everything out in the next 2 to 3 years.
I need to list the links for getting this going. Who's Alex Davis?
Okay, is there an offline mode for processing? There is not, but there's a manual voucher process. So you can actually download and print manual vouchers for Total Pay Go directly off of the Total Pay Go website. So I always recommend to all farmers and markets to have manual vouchers on hand in case your service goes down or your phone shuts off or something, you know, all of the unpredictable things that can come up when you're trying to process on the go. So yeah, you could have those at market, and then you just enter them in later. You will want to probably make sure that you're calling those transactions into your state processor just to make sure that folks have the balance to support the transaction. You may risk, it's kind of, you have to weigh like risking losing that transaction. And also if it's a busy market or something, not making somebody stand there while you call it in. Okay.
I have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
As a farmer here, not a market manager, this is kind of the first time I'm looking at this. My first question is about when you're saying you're toggling between Square. I already use Square. What you're saying basically is I'm going to have, if I accept this program, I'm going to have one portal from which I either use my normal Square or I take the EBT payments, right? That's all that means?
Yeah, so if you're already using Square, really what you could do with this program, if you decide to use the Total Pay Go app to accept SNAP, is that you can integrate your Square account directly into the Total Pay Go app. And then if you connect that you're a MarketLink customer and a Square customer, you get a discounted rate.
Okay, so but only if I'm using, okay, so a discount rate on all of my Square transactions, because if I'm also with MarketLink.
Yeah, so all of your Square transactions that you're taking within the Total Pay Go app to accept credit debit.
Okay. I guess my second question is kind of a big picture. WIC is still paper-based, right? They're not going to EBT yet as far as we know, or is that it's a completely separate system? The coupon?
That's a state-by-state situation, and
Okay.
actually a lot is moving towards an e-WIC soon, but we haven't gotten there quite yet.
Okay, and then my other question is probably more to you, Brad, then looking at what you had said, the state grants for this, does that take the same, what you're using the word quest, is that the same thing as we're talking about, this EBT SNAP payments? It's just a different system to do it, but it's doing the same thing. It would enable me to accept kind of food stamp money as a farmer, right?
Yeah, so in Alaska, the cards are called Quest cards. It is the SNAP in Alaska. It's the same, but yeah, so what the state provides is actually a device like it's a mobile credit card processing looking machine, and it connects through cellular and it processes Quest or SNAP at your farm stand or at your market. And they pay for the fees, and they actually have folks to help you set up and stuff like that.
Okay, and in that case, I would have my Square reader and my SNAP reader as opposed to having kind of
one device.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
Sure.
I saw also that someone chimed in and say that WIC has already issued eWIC cards to their clients. I guess that's in Alaska.
Yeah, this is Zena.
I just wanted to note that in some states, there are some states already that are using the Total Pay Go to accept eWIC. It is a complicated mechanism to work out, but it is something that's happening in some states, and in theory can happen in most states. It's a state-by-state process, and it is complicated, but I believe it's Massachusetts, New York State, and maybe Florida, I can't remember, that are all, if you are a Total Pay Go customer, you can accept eWIC. So that is something that's possible.
And I've been talking with Tracy at the state over the last little bit, and FIS should be able to process eWIC also, the processor that the state uses.
Yeah, the other component there is that the states have to decide whether or not they're going to authorize farmers or farmers markets to accept eWIC. So there's some states that it would be easy for us to basically like roll out eWIC, but the states themselves don't have the systems to authorize farmers and farmers markets versus traditional retail. So that's definitely something to talk to your state about as well. Got something in Q&A. Okay, Cheryl asked if we could clarify, will a merchant who accepts credit debit need to switch between Total Pay Go and Square? So I think we touched on that, but the short answer is no. If they are using Total Pay Go, they can integrate their Square account directly into Total Pay Go, so they don't have to toggle between apps. Let's see. Something else I just thought of is we often have farmers and farmers markets that will come to us looking for a second set of equipment to supplement. So when we were talking about the purchase program, let's say you get one free set of equipment from the state, but you need another way to process EBT at the exact same time. We do have options for that as well. It wouldn't be covered under the grant because you're a grantee of a state program, but we could get you set up with the farmers market rate for using the app, which is the $19.95 a month, and all the processing fees and everything would stay the same. I don't know, Brad, how many sets of equipment each market or farmer can obtain from the state.
I don't know that either.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, like for example, we do 2 Saturday markets at the same time. I would need, if I wanted to accept it at both, I would need 2 complete sets. So one would be paid for by the grant, the other I'd have to go ahead and purchase myself then.
Correct. Yeah. And in your case in Alaska, you may seek a set of free equipment from your state first. See if they'll give you 2 sets. That's great. You know, then you won't have to purchase anything at all. But if they'll only cover 1 set, then yeah, you could come to us and say, like, at my other market, maybe I'll use Total Pay Go on my phone instead, so that we can take payments at 2 different locations at the same time. And you would still be considered a farmer's market or a farmer to get like the farmer's market rate to use Total Pay Go, essentially. So you wouldn't get the first year covered, you wouldn't get the card reader covered, but you wouldn't have to pay basically like the commercial rate for the app. Okay,
thank you.
It would be a question to bring to the state. I can ask about getting multiple processors for one FIS number or FNS number. And then the state equipment does have an offline mode.
Awesome. Yeah. And it looks like if you all have a webinar scheduled on that, you might look into it to, yeah, let folks know that date. Okay, do we have any more questions? I think I got through everything in the chat, but please let me know if I missed your question or missed anything, or if there's anything else on your mind. All right, well, definitely.
Oh, could you drop the link to the toolkit or user manual or whatever you guys were referring to? I'm sorry if you have already, but just where folks
Put
can
it in the
find
chat. It's in the chat. Here, I'll do it again. There.
Yeah, definitely. If you're interested, bookmark that handbook because it's got all the contact information. And all kind of the different components of what we're doing with MarketLink, at least currently. It's a good place to find resources and get in touch with us.
Thank you. We'll add it to our Farmers Market Association website along with this recording for folks too.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, well, if there's no other questions.
Everyone.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Yeah, thanks everyone. And thank you to the Farmers Market Association for having us. Please follow up if you have any further questions or are interested in pursuing the MarketLink grant or other purchase options.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.